Should he take his talents elsewhere? We'll let Aaron tell his story with Pat McAfee.
It's difficult. Anytime the season ends, it's always abrupt. Definitely felt like we had a special team this year, be able to make a Super Bowl run. So it's frustrating to go out and play like that. I'm at the place relationally with the Packers, in a really good place, especially with Brian and the way our friendship and trust has grown. Where
the GM,
good to good.
Yeah, where it would be a simple conversation, and whatever comes out of that conversation is moving forward. There's not going to be any weird, standoff, war of silence or anything.
So, hey, there he is. Swaggo. Hey, thanks for being with us as always. Obviously, yeah. Wednesday is your day. Rodgers, I feel like, said all the right things there. He was thinking about everybody else, doesn't want to drag this out, create drama for the franchise. But do you think it's time for the Packers to move on?
Yeah, it is. It's time for the Packers to move on, and Aaron Rodgers. Listen, I said this a couple of days ago. It's been a whole lot of fuss and nothing to show for it. And obviously we know Aaron Rodgers' greatness, how well he plays the quarterback position and what he does for the Green Bay Packers. I'm not talking about football. You don't get better without having Aaron Rodgers, but you do start a new era. And that's my train of thought. And then too, for Aaron Rodgers, there comes a point, I think, in your career when you think you can win a championship and you've had so many bites at the apple and it's just not coming to fruition. And obviously we know he has a championship. And the safe thing is to say, well, stay in Green Bay because you got the best chance to win. Aaron Rodgers is going to make whatever team he goes to have a better chance to win a Super Bowl, right? And you talk about the roster and all of the things that transpired this offseason with him. I look at this franchise and I look at the individual who is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants to win a championship. I don't know if that's going to happen in Green Bay. They got a lot to figure out outside of Aaron Rodgers this year. And then if you're the Green Bay Packers, when do you get the next era started? Because ultimately, all of the things that you're going through, all of the conversations, and it's great that him and Brian has a good relationship now and everything is good, but Davante Adams, he's either going to get franchised or decide that he wants to figure out how to get out of there. Or you got guys that have come in like Randall Cobb, who Aaron Rodgers wanted on the team, who don't know what the future is like. So I'm not 100% sure that all is well in Green Bay when it comes to the decisions that they have to make going into this offseason. But for all of the things that transpire year in and year out, and this team has been to NFC championships. They've been in the playoffs. They lost this playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. It's been a whole lot of back and forth for it not to come together. And the Green Bay Packers waited, and they were patient and trying to figure out if Aaron was going to come back and play. He was contemplating retiring or going to another team or wanting out of Green Bay. I think you move forward. You start the new era in Green Bay. No, you're not going to be as good of a football team, obviously, without him being the quarterback. But eventually you start to rebuild this thing and figure things out as you go forward. Every team, every franchise has been through it. I think it's time for them to separate. I think it's what's best for both of them.
I think you're wrong. Not when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. I think a lot of that is contingent on what happens with Davante Adams staying in Green Bay or whatever. That's a different subject. But in terms of the Green Bay Packers moving on, hell no. You'd be stupid to do that if you made that call as an organization to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Where you going? Jordan Love, 19 for 34, 190 yards and an interception against Kansas City in his lone game as a starter this year. We saw what he did and how he wet the bed against Detroit in the second half of the season finale. He has not been that impressive. We have serious questions as to whether or not he is ready. We've seen no evidence of that whatsoever. So what direction are you going to go in if you lose somebody like Aaron Rodgers? I am not somebody that's keen to be but so complimentary about Aaron Rodgers today. We all know how I feel about the brother. I think he's the baddest man on the planet as a talent at the quarterback position that I've ever seen. But it also elevates the alarming feeling that just reeks through me when I consider how he performed this past weekend against Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. To score only 10 points in a home game when you had a week's rest, when San Francisco is playing on a short week, as good as that defense is, for you to only be able to muster that with Mr. Matt LaFleur helping you call plays and everything, because he's the offensive coordinator and the guru that has blessed the Green Bay Packers franchise. It ain't because of Aaron Rodgers they win. It's Matt LaFleur. I mean, he's the dude that's winning 13 games a year. He'll do that even when Aaron Rodgers leaves. Please. Ain't nobody believing that. And so to me, I'm just saying, when you talk about Aaron Rodgers making the decision, Swagoo, to move on, I vibe with you on that. There's a multitude of reasons why he could easily decide to move on, okay? And we all know teams will be lined up to take him. But in the end, I would tell you that if I'm the Green Bay Packers, I do everything in my power to keep that brother, because I have no plan B that measures up to his plan A. I have no plan B.
I'm sure they will. But my whole premise is, how much do you want to be in doubt? At what point do you move forward as an organization?
Hold on, stop. What do you mean? I just need clarification. What do you mean be in doubt? What does that mean?
Last offseason, you didn't know if the man was going to come back. This season, he just said on Pat McAfee, I'm going to make a decision. That he didn't say me and Green Bay are going to make a decision, or I'm going to go.
Swagger, let me interject. What I'm saying to you is, I'm saying take into consideration when I'm answering the question. I'm saying Aaron Rodgers says, yeah, guys, I'm willing to come back to Green Bay. I'm saying you, Green Bay, you don't move on. That's what I mean. I understand the trepidation, the doubt, but if he says, yo, I want to be here, you take him.
That's not the premise I'm under.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about how much unknown that this franchise is dealing with the quarterback. And Stephen A., let me tell you something, bro, and you know this as well as anybody. If you want to be somewhere and you're Aaron Rodgers, you will say that you want to be there. What benefit does Aaron Rodgers serve to tell the Green Bay Packers that he doesn't want to return?
You know the answer to this better than me. You want to make sure personnel is kept. Like Davante Adams is a big deal. You want to make sure you want to come back to the requisite weapons that you left behind this past season. You don't want to lose those.
S.A., those guys are waiting on him. I give Aaron Rodgers credit for this. He did acknowledge that I won't drag this out because other dude's future. That I respect that probably more than anything he said in the last years.
Right.
But when I think about this particular situation, bro, I don't want to be on hold with ESPN because I'm waiting to see what Stephen A. gonna do.
I agree.
I still have a future. I still have to make a decision based on what's best for me and my future.
Well, since you brought Stephen A. into the equation.
What's an analogy? Stop it. Don't go into all that.
Joking. I'm not joking.
Okay,
I'm not joking. I'm dead serious when I say this. Allow me to retort. Sitting here every day, Molly being by my side matters.
Yeah.
Swagoo being on the air with me matters. Keyshawn being on the air with me matters. Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes and Jeff Saturday being on the air with me matters. If I don't have those assets available to me, and that's up in the air, well, then guess what? I might not be as enthused about doing this. Y'all matter. Y'all matter when you use that analogy.
And that's great. And all of that is fine.
By the way, my producers. I mean, Antoine Lewis, James Dunn, Sam Tanucci, Ryan Setterfield, all of these guys. It matters.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You just said what you said, and Molly is sitting up there next to you. So at what point does your responsibility lie into the communication with everybody else about what you're doing?
With what you just said that you applaud Aaron Rodgers for. When you said, he said, I'm not going to let this drag out.
For Davante Adams.
Well, again, if I'm Davante Adams.
We're talking about the franchise.
Right.
I'm talking about the franchise and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I need you to make a quick decision.
Well, that's my point, Stephen A. Your quick decision may not be on my timeline. I got things to do too.
Guys, this is good, but we got to take a break. We got to take a break. Yeah. Marcus, we'll have plenty more time the rest of the show. I also want to mention Christopher Mad Dog Russo will be going head-to-head with Stephen A.
You sure he's going to show up?
Oh,
You sure Mad Dog's gonna show up?
He's gonna show up.
Stevie boy, where are you, Stevie boy? That's how he talks to me, you know.
I think you should be a little nervous about it.
He talks to me like I'm in high school. You
You know what that's called? It's called sunning you.
Well, you know what? He is older.
Okay, that's not what I was saying. Let's go. Let's go. Another season, another disappointing
And it goes,
finish
Stevie
for
Boy.
the Saints head coach. Payton has 3 years remaining on his deal. So New Orleans would maintain his rights if he decides to coach again. He didn't rule that out. Here's a very thoughtful and grateful Sean Payton at his press conference yesterday.
Man, I felt like it was time. You know, I kind of knew maybe heading into training camp. I still have a vision for doing things in football. And I'll be honest with you, that might be coaching again at some point. I don't think it's this year. I think maybe in the future, but that's not where my heart is right now.
Swagoo, you're up first. What is the meaning of Payton leaving? And you're from that city.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think he needed a reprieve, like just a breather. I mean, you think about Sean Payton has done a phenomenal job in New Orleans. I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was there at a time when Saints fans wore bags over their face. That's how bad the franchise was doing. He brought him out of that.
The Aints. That's what they were.
Yeah, you know it. You know, everybody knows it well. But you think about his whole tenure. You think about the bounce back from Katrina, the Super Bowl, his relationship with Drew Brees. But I think at times, man, like coaches it's a stressful job, and I think this is a reprieve. But I do think he's gonna end up in Dallas at some point.
Well, let me say this. The question is, what does it mean? What it does mean is that Sean Payton gonna be on First Take this year. I assure y'all of that. I love Sean Payton. Sean Payton gonna be on First Take. Coach, come on, you know I'm your boy. You just sit right there. The seat is waiting for you, my man. We could definitely get him and Rex. I gotta have Rex Ryan too. He's doing a great job. I gotta have Rex Ryan on here too. But let me say this to you. Let me tell you what else it means. It also means, look, damn it, I miss Drew Brees. I miss him a lot. I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to get over it. I'm holding it. I'm trying to get over it. But it's tough, damn it. I need a break after dealing with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, even though Jameis Winston didn't play that bad. It means that, too, because there's levels to this, and Drew Brees is on another level than what Sean Payton had to work with once he departed. Last but not least, I got to say this. Swagoo, it might mean that I can't troll the Cowboys as much as I'm accustomed to.
What?
Because Sean Payton could win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. With the personnel that they have on that offense. I know they got about 20, 21 free agents.
Oh, so
they
no
got some
black
decisions.
cat,
They
none
got
of that accident waiting to happen if Sean Payton shows up?
I will say this
He
to
the
you.
answer to the black cat?
I will not say there's a black cat running around that franchise if Sean Payton is the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, mind you, they can still mess it up now. Because Sean Payton can't control everything. He can't control dudes behaving themselves off the field. He can't control dudes not getting in trouble. He can't control that kind of stuff. But on the football field, in terms of an offense, I think that Sean Payton's presence automatically elevates the Dallas Cowboys, no question about it. Here's the question, though, Swagoo, and I'll throw it to you because it's all I got to say. He calls plays. Ain't no way in hell Kellen Moore's going to be calling plays if Sean Payton come there. And Sean Payton had control in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be the same. Can he take that, and will New Orleans release him from his rights, from their rights to him to let that happen within the same conference? Those are the two big questions.
I think they will with the right amount of compensation. Let me say that. The second part of your question is, ain't no way in hell Kellen Moore calling plays if Sean Payton becomes the head coach. And the other thing is, Sean has spent time in Dallas, so he understands that dynamic with Jerry and obviously Steven. And I believe in my heart of hearts, and look, you know, I very rarely change on the fact that Jerry may get out of the way. This may be one of those situations where he says, Sean, you along with Steven and Will McClay, y'all make football decisions. I really think he would tailor that in order, because of what you just said, the real belief that they could win a Super Bowl with him as the head coach. So I look at this in totality, and I think about what Sean Payton was able to bring the New Orleans Saints out of. Yeah. And if he goes back to Dallas already with an understanding. He was the offensive coordinator when I was drafted in 2005. He developed Tony Romo. He did a phenomenal job putting a great offense together. I just would pray, S.A., that Jerry would give him full control of what he needed to do in order to be the coach and control the things that needed to happen.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen A. has it all planned out. He'll come hang out on First Take for a year, and then
Oh,
he'll go to
Sean
Dallas.
Payton coming in that chair.
He'll go to Dallas and he'll win the Cowboys a Super Bowl. Cool. It's good to see. You're
It's
turning
possible.
things
It's
around.
possible.
Barry Bonds will be with us in just a bit, and of course, Mad Dog's going to be here. Jay Williams, Stephen A. Smith, I'm Molly Karam, and we will get to the game. Of course, you were there. Nets Lakers in just a bit, but as Stephen A. mentioned, heavy day for us here. 2 years ago today that we lost a legend, icon, the Hall of Famer, the Mamba, far too soon, and his beautiful and talented Gianna. We'll be honoring Kobe Bryant throughout the show, and my prayers are with his wife Vanessa, his daughters, his parents, all his loved ones on what is an extremely difficult day. And Jay, Stephen A., you've been around basketball most of your lives. I know both of you know Kobe personally. I'll start with you, Jay. How will you remember him?
He was a mentor to me in so many different ways, inspired me. And today, obviously, Molly, we were talking about this before the show, very heavy day. I feel like it kicked off a lot of things 2 years ago.
A lot of pain.
Yeah, with where we are now. But I come at today with a level of appreciation and gratitude because how I live my life, it's funny. Stepping on the court or stepping into the arena here with you guys and Stephen A., there was a relentlessness, there was an attack mindset, there was an appreciation for the detail, and there was something passionate about that, Stephen. You know what I mean? There's something uplifting and rewarding about attacking each moment of your life with the same kind of passion and sense of urgency that Kobe Bryant did. And I try to do that with my daughter, my wife, my son, my family, my mom, my dad. And that's how I try to embrace a day like today with how I will attack my future days.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I remember one of the conversations that I had, and it's one of my most memorable conversations with Kobe I had, quite frankly, on ESPN 2 years ago in 2005 to 2007. And, you know, everybody was talking about it at the time, particularly when I did the sit-down interview with Allen Iverson. And they were like, you know, saying, Stephen A. trying to be Oprah. Stephen A. gonna be Oprah. And Kobe saw me and he said, he used the F word, but I won't say that, obviously. He said, forget Oprah. Harpo. Harpo. He was in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
That's how he thought. And, you know, when you consider the fact that this dude, a five-time champion, a former league MVP, one of the greatest players in NBA history, and what he brought to the table on the basketball court, he had his post-basketball career planned and mapped out. He knew what he was going to do. And I only say for the immediate future because he constantly evolved and was always looking to improve upon that. And anybody who knew him knew he didn't care for those who wanted to limit themselves. He didn't care about limitations. He wanted you to springboard. He wanted you to maximize your potential. And then he insisted that you go out and inspire others to do the same. And so when I think about him, you know, today, and one of the things, and people don't realize this, you think about him a lot when you watch the NBA today. I've often told you, my personality is my personality, and I get that. But it vibes with those old school cats. The Hall of Famers are the ones who hold me accountable. I cannot tell you how many superstars have called me over the years. Don't let that dude off the hook. You call that out. You do it to me. That's what they said. He's passed now. Kobe was one of those dudes. He didn't sit up there and talk about any players or anything like that. He didn't roll like that. But what he would say is, excuse me, you hold us accountable. He said, wait a minute. If I sat up there and I'm shooting like garbage and I ain't getting the job done or I'm not committed to winning or anything like that, you'd call me out. Don't let anybody off the hook. Hold us all accountable because that helps uplift the game. And that's a big, big deal to me because when I'm talking about sports the way that I do, it's not just him. He epitomizes and personifies what so many others before him would say about how we have to protect the game and the integrity of the game by holding people accountable for their effort and their commitment, not their skill set, but their effort and their commitment to excellence. And that's what he's all about. That's what he personified. And, you know, that's why we remember him today.
Yeah, and I just want to say two things quickly. To your point, Jay, Kobe would be telling us, don't fight the old, build the new. How can you be your best spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally? And when I think of the word Kobe Bryant, that's what he makes you strive to be. to be the greatest version of yourself. And the other thing, I just want to share one story. I think I was like 22 years old working for ESPN Mobile. Remember when we had the ESPN phone?
Yeah.
And I got sent out to Southern California for a Powerade commercial. And they were with Kobe. And Kobe did the commercial in English, in Spanish, and Italian. He's brilliant. He's so cultured. And I was just so impressed by that. And like you said, when he passed away, it kicked off a lot of pain for all of us, me personally. And one thing that I actually have done during this pandemic, I've never said it, is I'm in school full time studying Spanish.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kobe, he really does, because my goal is to be able to interview in Spanish as well. But I never said it because I didn't want people to start talking to me because I'm not there yet. But really, that Mamba mentality, I strive to be like him. And what a legacy that is.
Yeah.
That just to hear his name makes you want to be a better person and your best in every aspect. He's such a beautiful spirit. And my heart just breaks for his wife and his children. And I'm sending them all my strength and love and prayers. And I hope they have a peace that passes all understanding, because I know today's going to be a difficult day.
It's devastating. But I think that, you know, we'd all be devastated. And I'm just going to leave it at this because I know we got to move on. It's devastating for him to be gone. It's devastating to know that his 13-year-old daughter is gone too.
Yeah.
Along with 7 others. But how you go also impacts us. If Kobe had died of natural causes, we'd mourn and we'd be incredibly sad. But the tragic fashion in which it happened is really, really what stays. I mean, I'm in California sometimes, and I'm driving, and you know, going towards Calabasas and stuff like that. You know, it hits your head, and you're like, damn, and it just messes with your whole spirit at that particular moment. And sometimes that's what it really, really affects a lot of people too. It's how it happened, not just that it happened.
Yeah, he meant so much to so many people.
Yeah.
And one last thing, the best trip I ever went on in my life was to Italy, and Kobe hooked that up for us. So I will always thank him for that. It was my only time in Europe. It was incredible. We know he spent some of his childhood there. So that's a positive memory, the Amalfi Coast. So thank you, Kobe, for
Je ne
that.
sais quoi?
Yeah.
Like, that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's him.
Yeah. So he's incredible. And we'll continue to honor him. Stephen A. has a few things we'll do a little later on the court as well. Ready to get to some hoops, guys?
Let's do it.
We're going to change the energy? Fire it
am.
up, baby? Okay. Last night, we saw the matchup that many expected to be the finals matchup this season before the season started. Some folks not as confident anymore. Brooklyn is 3rd in the East and the Lakers 8th in the West, but the Lake Show got the best of the Nets last night, beating Brooklyn in Brooklyn by 10. The Nets also dealing with injuries, COVID, etc. James Harden, guys, he's just getting frustrated.
I don't know about any reports. Of course, I'm frustrated because, you know, we're not healthy. You know, it's a lot of inconsistency for whatever reason, injuries, COVID, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's frustrating. I think everybody in this organization is frustrated because we are better than what our record is, and we should be, you know, on the way up. So that's all it is. I don't know about reports. If you didn't hear from me, like I don't talk to nobody. I have an agent. Like, you know, if you don't hear from me, then it's reports. So, you know, I'm frustrated because I want to win, and I'm a competitor. It's pretty simple. Thanks.
Stephen A., do you feel like James Harden's frustrations are justified?
Yes, they are. What I will say is you do have an obligation to tell the truth if you're going to talk to the press and say what he said. The reality of the situation is, James Harden, we can point to a plethora of things in the past that you didn't say that were reported that ended up being true. The departure of Chris Paul, the departure of Dwight Howard, the departure of Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? I love James Harden, but there are a plethora of instances that people can point to where you didn't tell the media a damn thing. The reports came out, and it ended up being exactly what was speculated about. So let's get that out the way. But I'm gonna tell you, Jay Williams.
Let me guess where you're gonna go.
No, don't guess. Just stay there and take it, because your turn is coming. I want to break it down to you, Jay Williams.
All ears.
Okay, because you're my brother. You see what's really going on, right? Is that James Harden came to Brooklyn and he realized they should have went to the Knicks. That's what they realized. What I mean by that, Jay, I'm not talking about. Let me be very clear. You got me. All right? I'm in the process of losing a bet to you where I'm going to have to buy you a Tom Ford suit. I mean, it's not looking good for me right now. I'll openly confess that, Jay. I'll openly confess that.
How many Tom Ford suits are you buying these days?
It
seems like a lot. You're losing a lot of bets.
No. I got a few other suits, Brioni and some others too, but don't worry about it. Stay tuned.
Please don't digress.
All right, I don't want to digress. She distracted me. But the point is this, Jay. I'm not saying like the Knicks is presently constructed. And I'm talking about from a fan perspective. You see, what people don't realize behind the scenes is that my brother Jay, who sits here, he's usually smiling, Molly, until he comes on First Take. And you know why he's not smiling when he comes on First Take? Because he usually went to a Brooklyn Nets game before the night before. And when he goes to that game, and he hears those crowds, serenading about the other team, but not the Brooklyn Nets. And he sits there.
It bothers me.
That's what Jay, because Jay knows. And see, this is the thing. You are absolutely right. The Knicks can't shine the Nets' shoes from a talent perspective. I know that. But you see, when the New York Knicks win a playoff game, not even a series, fans are like, yo, we won a damn championship. James Harden, not even the fans. I don't even have to get to the fans. James Harden's like, I'm frustrated we lose it. Yo, bro, they 9 games over 500. They're top 3 seed in the East. And he talked about losing. You know why? Because that's how it feels. Because in Brooklyn, what happens is the Barclays Center crowd, first of all, they ain't all Brooklyn Nets fans. They come to watch the other team, half of them. Half of them there for the Nets. The other half is for the visiting team. And then when you leave the Barclays Center, all you see is traffic on Atlantic Avenue. There's no real interest, okay? You got KD, maybe the best player in the world. You got James Harden, big time. You got Kyrie Irving, box office, spectacular. Okay, you walk through the turnstiles to see a brother like that play. And guess what? You're having a hard time finding interest outside of the Barclays Center. That is what has hit Harden. And he's going like this. I left Houston. By the way, a state with no state income tax. That's very important to add. I left Houston for this?
Molly.
You don't come here in a bad mood because of the Nets. We know why you come here in a bad mood.
That's what it is.
Yes, because you're always smiling when you see me. We're cool.
We're great.
When he looks that way,
We're
it's
talking
like
about life and Spanish lessons outside.
That's
He
right.
comes in.
That's
We're
right.
working on being the best version of ourselves.
That's what it
Then
is.
you come and
Jay don't tell the truth.
people get angry.
A couple of things. Let me prioritize a couple of things. Number one, you're going to stop embarrassing yourself in front of the world.
Why?
And putting the Knicks and the Nets in the same damn
But I
sentence.
didn't.
But you do. You do a lot.
I didn't.
And by the way,
I didn't.
they're not.
No, they're not.
You know
They're
why?
not.
You know
They're
why?
not.
Yeah,
They're
they're
not.
not. So
But the
let's
fans
stop
are.
doing
But
it.
the fans are.
No, the fans
are.
aren't.
The fan base is.
Well, I'm not talking about
the fan
fans.
base. I am.
You know what brings fans?
That's right.
Getting to championship games or getting close, or their performance on the court.
Actually, the Nets are disproving that thing. That theory. I mean, there's more fans. There's more Knicks fans than there's Nets fans.
First off,
I mean, it ain't even close.
Let me ask you a question.
Go
about
ahead.
it. To go back to James Harden being frustrated.
Sure.
Okay. We're coming off, today is the 2-year anniversary of Kobe.
Yes.
You know, when I think about Kobe, I think about standard of excellence.
Yeah.
So for some marginal teams, for some marginal people, they might think, he's frustrated because of the fans. But I'm actually frustrated because we should be number 1 in the East. We should be playing better basketball right now.
Really? Is that right?
Even though I have a 30-point triple-double,
Is that right?
you know what? I expect to win these type of games. And you know what? Even though there's drama, you can lip your lips all you want. I got some chapstick for you. You need it? Here, use
no,
that.
don't share
okay?
it.
You know what? I don't
Just use your
share
finger.
Guys,
Okay,
don't share it.
give him a cotton swab or something. You need it, but you need a lot of licking there. I don't need all the licking. Anyway, what I'm getting back to, my point is that because James Harden should be frustrated because he came here to win. Last year, when they were down, when they're up 2-1 against Milwaukee, after Kyrie gets hurt, he comes back and he still had a chance to win.
Yes.
Who won the World Championship last year or
Milwaukee.
the NBA Championship? Milwaukee.
Yes.
Okay. Who was a shot away from beating Milwaukee without James Harden pretty much being on the court and Kyrie?
KD?
KD.
Yes.
So, yes, I am allowed to be frustrated when I want to achieve the ultimate success. Your second thing about telling the truth. That's an interesting comment. You know why?
Yeah.
Why do I want to tell the media the damn truth? I don't owe nothing to y'all. I don't have to tell you exactly what I'm feeling. I don't have to tell you exactly what I'm going.
You too.
Oh, I'm part
You
of
in the
it.
media.
I don't expect it.
Don't absolve yourself.
You're speaking like as hard.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you all.
I don't need to get into my
You should have
emotional
said us.
bag.
Well, go ahead.
Us.
Yes.
Sorry, us. Does that make you feel better?
That does make me feel better.
Us. I don't owe us anything.
Okay.
Why do I need to tell you if I don't like living in Brooklyn? I'm here to play ball, man.
Yeah.
I'm a hooper.
Yes, he is.
If I
He
win
is.
a championship,
Right.
this all take care of itself. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
You don't give me $80 million more. My situation may change with Kyrie.
Right.
I have Kevin Durant, and we will continue to do what we do, which is hooping, Stephen A. This has nothing to do with the damn Knicks, with fans. This has to do with a standard of excellence that not a lot of people apparently have. Because for some teams like the Knicks, you would be happy with being third place in the East. But for teams like, or a guy like James Harden, who is the firepower, maybe they don't want to be third place in the East.
Well, first of all, Harden is very experienced with being number 2 or number 3 in the conference, wouldn't you say? I mean, he spent a lot of time in Houston at that level. So let's not act like it's a new. That's number 1. Number 2, this is the disadvantage and one of the biggest reasons I'm laughing at something you missed. Because the same Jay Williams that sat here, and if you're fair, Molly, you'll side with me on this.
I'm fair.
The same Jay Williams.
Oh, I know where he's going.
The same Jay Williams, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
The same Jay Williams that is sitting there, he's frustrated. They're not winning. It's about winning. They should be number 1 in the damn East. Isn't this the same dude that said just a week ago on national TV right on this platform that he had no problem with them being a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th seed?
Facts.
That's it. So
Facts.
what I'm saying.
Facts. I did say that.
So what I'm saying is, that's not consistent with
Yes, it
what
is.
you just said.
Yes, it is.
That's not
I didn't
consistent.
tell-
How you gonna be satisfied a week ago with them being a
fourth?
4th or 5th seed, but now you frustrated they ain't number 1? How that work?
Can I explain?
Yes, you can.
Should I raise my voice so you can hear me?
Would you like me to be mellow? I could
I
go
would
mellow.
prefer for you to
I
be
could go
mellow.
mellow. I could go
Thank
mellow.
you.
I could go
Thank
mellow.
you.
Go ahead, man. I'll
So,
go mellow.
let me
I go mellow. Go ahead.
I didn't say to throw games, Stephen A.
I didn't say you say throw games.
Okay, so I like that James Harden is pissed off. I like that he's frustrated. You know why? Because the reality is there isn't that much, with the exception of Patty Mills, around James Harden when KD and Kyrie are now on the floor. What I did say is that they happen to draw a situation where they can't have home court advantage. That would actually work out to their favor because more games than less, they would have the big 3 on the court. And I don't care, frankly, about home court. I care about having Kyrie, James Harden, and KD playing the majority of the games in the series.
I agree
That's
with
what
you.
I care about. I didn't say
agree
throw
with you.
games.
And-
So
but
there wasn't a
time out,
contradiction
time
in
out, time out,
myself
time out.
here.
It was a contradiction. I never said that you said throw games. I never said that you said that.
You implied it.
No, I did
Subtly.
not. I did no such thing.
I saw you look into the camera and imply it.
Time out. I only imply when it comes to Cowboys because I like trolling their fans. I say what I need to say with everything else. And what I am saying to you is this.
Finding a similarity between Cowboy fans and Knicks fans, but go ahead.
No similarities there.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain.
We know we stink. We don't believe. You don't hear Knicks fans saying we gonna win the NBA championship next year. You don't hear us saying that.
Is there tape of him saying that they can get to the Eastern Conference semifinals or the finals?
I just
So
said,
what do you mean?
Time out. Didn't I just say?
Okay, go ahead.
You don't hear us saying Knicks fans are gonna win the NBA championship?
New York, stand up. Go ahead. Okay, but
I
it's
didn't
still
say.
a little bit
That's not
bloviating
saying.
and-
That's not saying they're gonna win a chip.
Yeah.
Cowboy fans lie to themselves all the
Well,
time.
Trae Young showed
Okay,
up and then the
but
party
in the
was
end,
over.
here's the reality of the situation. Harden, why would Harden be frustrated with them being 29 and 18 and 3rd in the Eastern Conference? Harden's not frustrated by that. Harden's frustrated by all the drama that has surrounded this team and the fact that his horses ain't there. And he ain't blaming no KD, because we all know KD balls all day, every day, if he's healthy.
You know what?
And we know that Harden does the same thing. But we all know the drama that has surrounded the Nets franchise. And when we talk about, there are reports, not me, but whether it's Woj or anybody else out there, you've seen people speculating as to whether or not Harden would stay in Brooklyn after this year. Would he go down I-95 to Philadelphia with Daryl Morey and the boys? Speculation coming out of those camps. Why? Why is that happening? Because they're implying that Harden is not happy in Brooklyn. Why would you be unhappy? Why? Tell me.
I'm not saying I disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying I disagree with that.
So my point is, he's not happy in Brooklyn. There's only 2 reasons not to be unhappy in Brooklyn. There's only 2. And one of them is obviously all the drama that has surrounded this team.
Yeah.
All I'm telling you, as a producer tells me to rap, and I refuse to listen to him,
Okay. No.
is that if they win a championship, all is taken care of, Stephen A. These are the dog days.
I agree with that.
As Hoopers, January, February,
I agree.
These are the tough days.
I agree.
Media is going to ask crazy questions.
Then why are you emotional?
Because you make me emotional,
me? I do
damn
that
it.
enough. I
And
don't
you
do that.
know you do.
You don't have to be
All
that
I'm
way.
saying to
You don't
you
have to be that
is
way.
talk to me when it comes time for March. Talk to me when we get into April, when they start actually hooping and they're on the court together.
Time out. Just in case the audience needs to know this, Jay will be here in March.
Oh, I'll be here a lot.
April, May,
Yes.
and June. Nobody disinvited you. You'll be right there.
What?
The point is, it's January right now. February's approaching. I'll talk to you down the line as well. It don't change today. It don't change today. I mean, you got to deal with today. You got to deal with the fact that you went to the Lakers game. Notice I said the Lakers game is at the Barclays Center. The Lakers game last night because there was more Laker fans in there. That's right.
Don't do it.
You was at the game. You was at the game. How was it? How many Brooklyn Nets fans did you see?
Last word here, and then we're going to get to football.
LeBron.
I don't even know what to say.
Jay.
I'm just going to stare him down.
That don't happen at the Garden.
Jay, what would Kobe do?
Kobe would just-
He would ignore the noise.
I can't wait to drop 81 on you. I'll take 81
Kobe
on us.
could
They're
ignore
coming.
the noise because they would be rooting for Kobe.
Okay. All right.
So
So now you're telling me people don't root for KD?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in Brooklyn.
Here, you know what, Jay? We'll go to a sore subject for Stephen A. That would be Aaron Rodgers, who lost to Jimmy G. I don't know if you saw.
Keep the same energy.
It's no secret Rodgers' season didn't end the.
Listen, we all know what today is. It's a 2-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's passing. We understand that, and that doesn't leave us in a good mood. But if we want to get in a good mood, think about the greatness that he blessed us with throughout his illustrious career as a Los Angeles Laker. So guess what I'm doing today? It's time for an A-list. And today's A-list is about that brother, Kobe Bryant. Today I've got the top 5 Kobe Bryant moments for me personally. It's all open to debate because there were so many. But I'm going to give you my top 5 first. Number 5 on the list. Give it to me right now, please. Look at that game winner versus the Phoenix Suns 2006 playoffs. This brother gets the ball, pulls up over my brother Rajah Bell, pulls up right there, and then does that MJ fist pump. There you go with Lamar Odom and those boys jumping into his arms. That was after Shaquille O'Neal was going. That was when it was clearly Kobe Bryant's team. It was before Pau Gasol arrived, obviously so. But you see what I'm talking about. Let's go to number 4 on the list, please. Give it to me right now. Kobe Bryant. This kind of hurt my feelings. I had to tell him it hurt my feelings because he did this to my New York Knicks. Came into Madison Square Garden and said, let me remind these people of who the hell I am. Madison Square Garden, February of 2009. Kobe Bryant puts on an absolute show. Dropped 61 on the New York Knicks. A victory, of course. Now let's go to number 3 on the list, please. Give it to me right now. Give it to me. Look at this dunk versus the Denver Nuggets, okay? Behind the back, reverse slam right there, February of 2003. That was Kobe Bryant. Look at that brother right there. It was something special. Some of the best times in the history of the NBA because of some of those moments like that. But it ain't number 2 on the list. We know what number 2 is, right? Give it to me, please. 81 points against the Toronto Raptors. Our colleague, Jalen Rose. He was on that team. Coach of the year. One of the coach of the years. Sam Mitchell, he was coaching at the Toronto Raptors. That's my brother. Great coach, great dude. But that particular night, boxing won, double teamed, did everything he could to Kobe Bryant. It didn't matter. He dropped 81 points. 81. Only Wilt Chamberlain's 100 has registered higher in the history of basketball. Still in all, just because you scored 81 points, that didn't make it number 1. Here's what number 1 was to me. I was there in attendance. His final game of his career, April of 2016, Kobe Bryant versus the Utah Jazz, when he dropped 60. When Jay-Z was courtside, when Snoop Dogg was in attendance with himself doing a selfie, going crazy. This is the show that Kobe Bryant put on, pulling up from everywhere, on his last legs with his family in attendance. I was there. The stars came out. It was his final game, and it was a spectacular, spectacular memory he left for us all. These are my top 5 moments for me personally in the career of Kobe Bryant. There are others I could have easily put in here because he had so many, but they just jumped out of my mind. I'm giving it to you.
No debate with that list for the first time. Stephen A., very well done. You didn't get the reverse dunk on Minnesota, but you couldn't get everything, obviously.
Too many.
Mamba out. How about 60 his final game? I forgot about that till you brought that up.
It's crazy.
Marcus, where are you on this? Any other memories that Stephen A. left off?
Nah, phenomenal list. The one I would say is when he threw the alley to Shaq.
Yeah.
And you realize the evolution of Kobe Bryant's game.
I was there too.
And how he was
there for that
willing.
one too, Marcus.
Yeah, how he was willing to take a back seat when needed. And you remember, Stephen A., that was the conversation. Is Kobe going to force it? Will he he threw that alley, man, and Shaq came down pointing, and you could see them jump into each other's arms.
The only reason I didn't put that moment up there, and I was there, but that back in the day, you know, I was sitting in the rafters, you know. I mean, I was.
You
courtside now?
I was
You
Stephen A.,
courtside
but
now.
I was writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer, not being all over TV, so I didn't have the seats I would have now. But the point that I'm making to you is that the stadium was rocking. It was absolutely a sensational moment. But Shaq's, even though Kobe threw the pass, after he shook off Scottie Pippen, by the way, who was a Portland Trailblazer at the time, the bottom line is the dunk by Shaq is why I didn't put that on the list, because Shaq dunked it. If Kobe had dunked it, it would have been different.
No doubt. I love the list, though. Yes. I love the list. And I heard y'all make y'all tribute to Kobe. The one thing I'll remember for sure, S.A., and obviously the basketball moments, is the legendary father he was.
Yeah.
To me, that's the story that we all should still tell, and I know y'all do it well, but you think about legacy. Legacy was happenstance because Kobe was going to be a great basketball player, and I feel like that was for us, and obviously his children, his family, his wife benefited from that. But ultimately, the legend and legacy will lie with his family and his girls that are still here. Obviously, we miss G. She was ascending as one of the best female basketball players in the country. But as a father that had the opportunity to play a professional game, you realize more and more as you get towards the end that my real legacy gonna lie with the people that I look in the face every day in my home. And I thought he was doing a tremendous job doing that while doing so many other
Absolutely.
things.
He adored his daughter.
We got to go to break.
Yeah.
He bragged about Gianna.
She would have been at UConn. He said that every time.
And he told me years earlier,
Yep.
she's going to UConn.
Yeah.
She's going to play for Gino Auriemma.
Yep.
And then she's going to the WNBA.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what he said.
Yeah, absolutely.
What he said.
Gone too soon. Mamba out. Anthony Davis back for the Lakers after coming at you, and you don't want to miss it. Christopher Russo, the Mad Dog, is here. And he thinks Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens do not belong in the Hall of Fame.
What?
Yeah, clearly Stephen A. disagrees. Way to give it away, Stephen A. Say no more. And after Saturday's loss, is it time to reconsider Aaron Rodgers' status as an all-time great quarterback? Wait till you hear Mad Dog. Plus, the Cowboys just completed their 26th consecutive season without a championship. But is it an end to the misery for the Cowboys fans closer than you might think? We've got the answers. But first, back to hoops. Jay Williams is in the building. The 8th place Lakers won a big one last night, beating the Nets in Brooklyn in the big return of Anthony Davis, who scored 8 points and had 4 blocks in his return. LeBron noticed the immediate impact of AD. Here's the King.
Obviously, right away, you see what he's capable of. Right, we draw a play right out of right to start the game, and I was able to turn the corner and threw a late lob, and he was still able to throw it home. So, very excited to have him back.
His anchor to our defense is something that's been sorely missed, and the ability to mix pitches with him being, a 5-man and a rim protector, and then going centerless, when he's out, is something that we envision will be really good for us and give us a great opportunity to make a late push in the regular season and into the playoffs.
Okay, Jay Williams, tell me this: what is the Lakers ceiling now with AD?
Championship. It's always been a championship. That's what it should as hell be. When you have LeBron James, who's 37 years old, averaging 29, 8, and 6, whose name belongs in the MVP conversation, and you have Anthony Davis coming back, being healthy, a guy who was a multi-time Defensive Player of the Year, a guy who you went out of your way to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We're here to win championships. You decide to trade the likes of Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and others to get the return of Russell Westbrook, even though that's not what I would have done, and to let go of Alex Caruso. Your ceiling and expectation better be to win a damn championship. Now, look, I'm not saying I think it's realistic, but I'm saying if you're internally for this team, it's to win a championship, Stephen A. LeBron James deserves to have a championship every year he finishes playing his career, or to at least be in the conversation. If not, why the hell is he playing? Why the hell even assemble this team? And I'm not going to discount who this team could still be in the second half. I think there are a lot of issues that they have, even though last night they blitzed the Brooklyn Nets they should without KD and without Kyrie. There's still some questions around defensively. If you want to, I heard you say the other day about coaching. I disagree with you on that. I don't think Frank Vogel is the answer to firing. I don't know who the hell you can even replace him with. But I will say the ceiling should be a championship. That should be the expectation for this team.
I think you're wrong. Because I think that your mentality about this Lakers squad with what you just expressed is what we all believed coming into the season. I'm focused on what we've seen. Mm-hmm. And based on what we've seen, I don't think championship needs to be mentioned in the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm worried about them getting past the first round. That's how I feel about the Los Angeles Lakers in all seriousness. And the reason that I feel that way is because of how they looked even before AD went down. They were like 16 and 14 before AD went down, okay? And they were having problems defensively. And AD and LeBron obviously signed off on Russell Westbrook being there as well. I'm not faulting Russell Westbrook the way other people are. He gives 100%. He never cheats you with effort. He is what he is. I'm going to tell you what I fault Russell Westbrook about. I fault him about three things. I fault him about his perimeter shooting, which is virtually non-existent in my mind. He's not a shooter. Leading the league in turnovers.
Yep.
And forgetting who the hell he is. And what I mean by that is, forget about what people say you can't do. Do what you know you can do. When he was player of the month in 2020 and he averaged 27 for the season against the Houston Rockets, he came on strong over the last several months because he attacked the basket with vigor and he forced you to deal with him. He ain't worried about what you were talking about he couldn't do. He attacked, okay? He was in attack mode and attacking that basket. I think that's what he needs to get back to. And outside of that, here's what I would address to you about Frank Vogel. First of all, as it pertains to AD, people walk around. I'm appalled at his 17% shooting from three-point range. He's completely lost his perimeter shot. But he's still averaging 24 and 10. AD is AD. This brother's big time. Now, he might not be a top 5 player in the world right now, but the brother big time, and people talking about him like he's some scrub. AD ain't no damn scrub. AD is very formidable. And LeBron is playing like an MVP candidate. It's just that the Lakers have been so sporadic, we can't consider him for MVP because obviously he has some leadership responsibilities as well, and people are looking at it from that perspective as well. But numbers-wise, LeBron is right there. I've never advocated for Frank Vogel's firing. And that's what I want to make sure that I'm clear with you about.
Okay.
What I said was he will be the scapegoat. Russell Westbrook's making $44 million. Next year, he makes $47 million, okay? In the last year of his deal, assuming he opts in, which I believe he will, to get to $47 million, okay? So LeBron ain't going nowhere. AD ain't going nowhere. And they convinced Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss to sign on Russell Westbrook, so the team that you assembled is the team that you assembled. That's their responsibility as well as Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka ain't going to fire himself. I don't think Jeannie's going to let go of him. And when Magic Johnson is tweeting that there's no excuse for this, and I'm saying it's cold because it's time for a change, the one thing that I am critical of Frank Vogel about, and I'm not saying he deserves to be fired, I'm saying you wasn't the first choice. That was Ty Lue. You wasn't the second choice. That was Monty Williams. You wasn't the third choice, which was Jason Kidd. It's just that they couldn't hire Jason Kidd, they felt, because of off-court transgressions from years earlier, which should have never been the issue with hiring Jason Kidd. Frank Vogel was here on Get Up. He was working at ESPN, okay? He wasn't there. He took that $5 million a year, and you went there. But the reason why you were head coach is because defense was your signature. You cannot be Frank Vogel and have a team 18th in defensive efficiency, 27th in points allowed. You cannot have
Let me
that.
get to the real crux of the problem. You see, when LeBron James was with Miami, who was
Pat Riley.
leading LeBron James?
Pat Riley.
Okay.
And D-Wade.
With the exception of Cleveland, where Kyrie made an incredible shot down the stretch, right? I still give him a lot of credit. I think what happens with LeBron is that people acquiesce to what he wants so much. And I'm not saying that LeBron can't make incredible decisions.
Sure.
But there's nobody saying, no,
Right.
this is going to be the way that we're going to do that.
Right.
And I think culturally, that's what happens with the Lakers right now.
1,000% correct.
That's their problem.
1,000% correct. But still in all, You've been around long enough to know what I'm saying is right. Even if it's not Frank Vogel's fault, you know we're going to take the fall.
But that's my problem, though, Stephen A.
I agree. I agree.
Do you go to Phil Handy? And I love Phil Handy. Do you go to Dave Fisdale?
Can I just
like
say
his record is like,
let me say
nobody
this to you.
fixes
Let
that
me say this
problem.
to you. I wouldn't hesitate to go to Phil Handy. And I don't, and knowing Phil Handy the way that I do, he would never want this job, because he wouldn't want it under these conditions. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody's talking about Frank Vogel. He don't roll like that. We've known Phil Handy for years. But let's understand something about a Phil Handy. Cleveland Cavaliers win a championship. Phil Handy's the coach, assistant coach.
Assistant. Never been a head coach.
Toronto wins a championship. Phil Handy's an assistant coach at Toronto. Lakers win a championship. Phil Handy's. How many places do you have to be before you? There's plenty of coaches that have never been assistants that have gotten head coaching jobs. How come a guy that is an assistant, that is huge on player development, how come he can't be considered?
Because it automatically sets him up for failure right out of the gate.
Okay,
and I think if you're Phil Handy, you can't take that out.
No, I'm saying I don't think he would.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, to address your question, I'm saying I agree with you because of the conditions that exist with the Lakers. But don't tell me that it would be, something that's utterly ridiculous if the Lakers sat up there and said, well, the hell with all that. We're looking at him over a Fizdale or somebody else. Because at some point in time, you got to be like a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mike Tomlin was a coordinator. You got to give somebody a chance. And there's something about them that can galvanize people to maximize their potential. I think Phil Handy's that kind of guy. That's how much I believe in him. I'll say this to you. If I were the Knicks, and of course I wouldn't, there's a Tom Thibodeau. There's a Tom Thibodeau. But would I hire somebody like that? Yes. Would I hire Mark Jackson? Yes. I mean, I would do that. Mark Jackson was never an assistant. Mark Jackson goes to Golden State, and he built the foundation that Steve Kerr piggybacked off of, and Steve Kerr took it to another level and deserves credit. But there's nothing wrong with taking that chance.
Understand.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I just don't think Phil Handy would want that situation, nor will he fix some of the immediate issues.
Right.
The question ends up happening. It was trending last night on Twitter, and it made me think, damn.
Okay.
It really made me think.
Okay.
Now, I know Russ was already there, but do you try to go back and get a guy like John Wall? And maybe see if you can get a guy like Eric Gordon with John Wall?
No.
Another perimeter shooter and a defender.
John Wall got mad love and respect for him. John Wall hasn't played in a couple of years.
I understand that.
And he's not a shooter.
He can be a spot-up shooter.
I need a shooter from that point guard.
He's going to shoot the ball better than Russ.
I don't know about that now. He's been going for 2 years.
All right. If you want more Jay Williams, check him out every weekday with Max and Keyshawn. That's 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN2 and, of course, on ESPN Radio. Always good to see you. We'll talk to you soon. Stephen A. is already on the record saying Saturday night's loss was a career-defining one, but does Christopher Mad Dog Russo see it that way? He'll join us to discuss.
Way to go, Stevie Boy!
Big Poppy is in. Bonds and Clemens are out. Get ready for some fireworks when Stephen A. and Mad Dog go head-to-head on whether they should be in the Hall of Fame. Buckle up, y'all. Well, what a pleasure this is. We welcome in the one and only Christopher Mad Dog Russo. My family is so excited.
Oh, really? Thank you.
I texted all of them that you're going to be in
How
here
about
today.
that?
They're like, I cannot wait to see him with Stephen A.
The thrill is mine, Stevie A.
What's up, baby? What's up?
Thrill is mine, Molly. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing well. He talks to me like I'm still in high school, but I can't knock it because I was listening to him when I was in high school.
That scares me, is that he was listening to me 30 years ago doing a little radio thing,
Well,
and now I'm on his show.
You know what that tells me? You look great.
Well, thank you. 62 years old, 62.
And honor.
And you have a playful spirit.
Listen,
so there you go.
an honor and a privilege to have this man, him and Mike Francesa. They started Sports Talk Radio. The man is phenomenal. Mad Dog Radio on Sirius XM, where I worked under him.
By the way, we all loved him. He left, of course, because he was on Mad Dog Radio. He was great. Not one person in the place did not like him. As cooperative and cared about the channel like you wouldn't believe. And he had other things. I'm not just throwing bouquets at him.
No, I believe
because I'm going to kill him now with this whole thing.
No, I totally
figured I'd tell you that.
Yeah, no, Stephen A. really cares about the
He
job.
does. He's got a good
that
heart.
is for sure. Okay,
Good heart.
the Love Fest is over.
Okay, let's go.
do this.
Because he's got some explaining to do.
Mr. Russo, do Bonds and Clemens belong in the Hall?
Absolutely not. They cheated the game. There's an integrity issue with the voting procedure with Cooperstown. There's also a sportsmanship issue. And Bonds and Clemens, we all know they were Hall of Famers prior to 98 when they started to do steroids. So if that's your argument, well, they were Hall of Famers prior, so I'll put them in. That's what a lot of people do. Bob Costas goes along with that.
Yes.
Bottom line is they cheated the game for 6 or 7 or 8 years. Bonds ruined the home run records. Nobody cares about 500 home runs anymore. Nobody cares about Maris and Henry Aaron. We all know that Aaron's the home run king. We all know that Maris, who hit the 61 and 61, he's the single season champ. And listen, I'm a Giant fan. I saw Bonds play every game as a Giant. Nobody loves the Giants more than me and Bonds. But the bottom line is that Bonds, for a period of time, made a mockery of the rules, made a mockery of home runs. He's not Babe Ruth. I mean, steroids made Bonds an immortal. He was not an immortal prior to steroids. After steroids, he became Ruthian. There's only one Babe Ruth. It's not Bonds. So I don't have any problem at all with the writers not electing him. Same thing with Clemens. I think the issue that we have now with Ortiz is we are not being consistent. Because Ortiz in 2003 failed that random survey test. Baseball is trying to protect him by saying
Random survey test.
Yeah, well, they're trying to protect him now by saying, well, maybe it was a false positive. Nobody buys the fact that it was false positive. Who gets?
I buy it. I buy it. I buy it. I buy it.
This is
I
not
buy it.
COVID.
I buy it.
This is steroids.
I buy it. I'm telling you right now, I buy it. And I don't know what you're talking about, these immortals and stuff. What the hell is this, Endgame, Avengers or something?
I actually love that line. You know what I thought in my head? I said, I hope Social clips that off, because that was a great line
It's a great line, but it's not applicable to this particular discussion.
So you think Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame?
I'm getting ready to get to that, Mad Dog Russo. Now, you got me on your show interrogating me. It's my turn now. It's my turn, Mad Dog. Let's be very, very clear. I don't disagree with anything that you said in terms of what you classified them as. I'm saying, in spite of all of that truth, they're still Hall of Famers. Look at the numbers. If you look at Barry Bonds, you trying to tell me he wasn't a Hall of Famer?
He's a Hall of Famer.
He was. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Well, why is there an integrity issue when you're that?
Wait a minute. I'll get that with the integrity. Stop it. Stop it. Excuse me. The brother was performing. You were watching. I don't recall you missing any San Francisco Giants games. I don't recall you. Excuse me. I don't recall you saying, Mad Dog Russo, I'm not going to watch this guy. He's shady. I'm not going to watch. You were glued to your TV because I've been in the studio with you, and you had the TV up there when they were playing. You didn't miss Giants games. And when you're on home, you got the TV on. When you're watching back, when Barry Bonds was doing that home run chase, you were watching.
No.
What?
Not the home run chase in 2007. I can care less. I followed Bonds. Because remember, they got the World Series in 02.
You
they were good.
No,
07, no.
You know everything about baseball.
07, I didn't care.
You know everything about baseball. You were watching.
Right there.
Stop it. No, that's not true.
And I was mad because Aaron was at the Hall of was writing videos, Henry Aaron. And Aaron hated Bonds for breaking his record.
Hold on. Let me get to a couple of points. So you got Barry Bonds. He's a Hall of Famer, not an immortal, not the home run king, not better than Hank Aaron, or whatever. Certainly not with the same integrity. The man is phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
I agree with that.
All right, then.
No argument.
So you can put him in a Hall of Fame with an asterisk. Let me get to Roger Clemens.
You want to put an asterisk next to him in the Hall of Fame?
You tell his story. Put him there, but tell his story. Not only that, Roger Clemens, 13 years in Boston. What was he doing? Now, to me, if you want to keep him out of the Hall of Fame, the one reason should be stupidity. Nobody was bothering Roger Clemens. And then you go wag your fingers at Congress and dare them to subpoena
he looked stupid.
knowing you had your wife on the cover of Sports Illustrated with more muscles than you. That's just stupid on his part.
Did you really just say that?
Let me tell you why I'm saying that. Because the Hall of Fame is not just about your level of production. It's about your story, whatever it is.
So basically, the bottom line is,
that's okay.
It's not a lead if there's asterisks.
Let me tell you why I feel this way and why I feel so passionate. Why I feel so passionate about this. Baseball cancels the World Series in 1994.
Correct.
In 1998, we're all transfixed.
Oh, we're all wrapped up
on
McGuire,
Sosa and McGuire, right?
Yep. No question.
Did anybody give that money back? All the money that they generated.
No.
Exactly. So we took from them, and then we want to act like they didn't exist. But the money exists. The popularity exists.
That's fair.
You can put them in the hall.
Well, McGuire and Sosa saved baseball. If you're going to use that argument, 98 off the strike and the whole World Series cancellation, that's fine.
Okay.
I get that. Fair. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Did you see 61? You saw it, right? The Billy Crystal movie?
Yeah.
I saw it with my 19-year-old kid 10 days ago. My 19-year-old kid is one of those guys.
I saw it years ago.
I saw it recently. Again,
Okay.
And my 19-year-old kid who's a big sports fan says, you know what, I said, I got Colin, good movie, let's watch this. And he's one of those guys who thinks Bonds and Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Ortiz should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Ortiz should. Big Papi, absolutely.
He's the new school kid. I don't care about steroids.
Okay.
We watched the Maris thing, whose hair was falling out trying to catch Ruth, who had the commissioner put an asterisk next to his name because he set the home run record that year at 61 in 162 games instead of 154, in which Ruth did in 1927.
Right.
We had fans in the upper deck rooting for Mantle and throwing chairs at Maris because Maris broke the record and Mantle did not. And the writers killing Maris. How dare he break the great Ruth record? And then his wife and his kids, this is a single season record. This is important to him, the whole 9 yards. So Maris had his hair falling out, did the record legitimately. And then McGuire, Sosa, and Bonds cheat to break the all-time record. And I'm supposed to put them in the Hall of Fame?
Time out. Excuse me.
I'm supposed to put Bonds and McGuire in the Hall of Fame, who cheated to break a record, whose guy's hair is falling out, but he did it in 1961.
I'm going to regurgitate a particular point that I made earlier. You were watching. The world was transfixed on what they were doing with Sosa and McGuire, and then ultimately Bonds. What I'm saying is this: you ain't give the money back. You didn't sit up there and dilute the popularity that it regenerated in the sport. You took from it. So in other words, recognize the fact of what they were. If you're Barry Bonds, when Barry Bonds, and I was watching a Bonds documentary on ESPN last night, and it talked about how when Sosa and McGuire were chasing the home run record.
Jealous.
No. He hit 400 steals, 400 stolen bases. Okay, all right, and 400. And they were like, hey, listen, no one cared. So he's going like this. I'm great. I'm better than both of these guys. Y'all know what they're doing, and y'all are transfixed on that. Oh, so that's what it is. By the way, testing didn't come into play until 2003. They never tested positive. They were never reprimanded by the sport of Major League Baseball. So why not?
Stevie, everybody knew that morally was, Jeter didn't do steroids.
I understand that.
Everybody knew that morally it was not the right thing to do.
Stephen A., what is that going to do for this generation then? How is that fair if they get in?
Fair as
so then should they be allowed to do steroids too?
As my boy Jeff Brown in California.
Not even then.
Hold on, Molly. As my boy Jeff Brown in California religiously says, fair is a place where they judge pigs. It doesn't exist. I mean, we don't care about that. The bottom line is, what were you before the steroids kicked in?
So he was a Hall of Famer.
Thank you. Put him in.
But don't you want to be consistent? What? You got steroids. Why put Ortiz in if Bonds and Clemens are not in? Either they all go or nobody goes.
That's what I'm trying to say to you. All of them should go in.
But they didn't, though, Steve.
They said, I understand that.
And they're not getting in. They're out.
I totally agree with you about the inconsistency. They should not be out. All the Big Papi, don't get me started with Big Papi. My brother, and I'm a Yankee fan. And what he did to the Yankees, that's the only problem I ever had with Big Papi. But I love Big Papi. Don't tell me he ain't no Hall of Famer with what he did as a DH with 500 plus home runs and the way he terrorized
people. You don't have a problem that he failed the random drug test in 2003?
No, I don't. Because what else? What proof do you have? Do you have
evidence?
He did proof.
Do you have evidence? Well, Mike, you know why you have proof? Because the New York Times and Michael Schmidt, who's a Hall of Fame writer, he broke the story.
The commissioner absolved him.
Because the commissioner wants a weekend in the
Gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. We are going to agree to disagree. And I was very distracted this entire segment by your memory. You have a photographic memory.
Good memory.
He knows. It is unbelievable.
I know that he'll pull stuff out of that head of his. I'm like, damn.
Thank goodness.
All right, I got to be sharp. I got to make sure I brush up.
You don't go up against him every day because it would be challenging
He's
for you.
a better entertainer than me.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I might be able to come up with weird facts. Yeah. He knows how to sell it better than I do.
I don't think I'm better at anything than Mad Dog Russo.
Oh, he's a fan.
I don't believe that.
We'll see, because you're
football,
sticking
right?
around.
Football.
You're sticking
but
around.
I still give him hell.
But
I still give him hell.
Yes, as I just said, Christopher Russo sticking around here with us. And we're going to see where he stands on that bad man. You know, Stephen A. has a soft spot for Aaron Rodgers, losing Jimmy G. We're going to get into that. And the postseason disappointment has become a tradition in Dallas. But is the answer to Cowboys fans' prayers almost within reach? We'll talk about a potential difference. It's just been a few days since Aaron Rodgers' turbulent season came to a crushing end. Still a favorite to win league MVP, but that bad man and his offense only put up 58 total yards in the second half, are yet again not going to be in the big game. Rodgers below 500 in the postseason since winning it all in 2011, and his 4 playoff losses to the Niners are the most versus a single team. Stephen A., I love to give you a hard time. We know you're a fan, but the postseason losses are starting to add up. Should Rodgers still be considered an all-time great?
Yes, I think he should, because when you consider the numbers that he put up, the level of accuracy, the fact that he minimizes interceptions, and he's a Super Bowl champion. I mean, you got to check that box. It's been a decade, but he's still a Super Bowl champion. He got one of them. He's been to 4 conference championship games, has lost all 4 other than that Super Bowl. I'm very, very disappointed in what I saw from Rodgers this weekend, but it can't, at the end of the day, I think it tarnishes his legacy to go out so weakly the way that he did this past weekend. But when you look at his skill set and what he brings to the table and what he's done for the most part, not just in regular season, but he's got great postseason numbers as well, I don't think you can deny he's one of the all-time greats. Because as a talent, I challenge anybody to tell me outside of Patrick Mahomes, maybe you've seen a better talent at the quarterback position. Not results, talent.
Yeah, I generally agree 100% on that. He's not an immortal. Right. Not with these last 2 games.
Right.
He's not an immortal. You know, here's the thing about Rodgers that bothers you if you're a big football, like we're football fans.
Yeah.
Brady, when he's not on his game, he figures out a way to gut through the game.
Fair enough.
He'll make a play. You know, look at that Super Bowl against the Rams when he wasn't good, but he made the play to Gronkowski and they beat the Rams in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Rodgers, when things are not going well, there's never a plan B. You know, there's never a situation, okay, I'm off, I'm not as sharp, my receivers aren't getting open, the weather is bad. Let me come up with a plan B to get us through this game. And Rodgers never does that. And that's a major problem.
So why are you saying he's an all-time great?
Well, you got to because
do that.
Because it's what Stevie said. He's got a Super Bowl. He's a wonderful thrower of the football. He's been in the playoffs constantly. I mean, you can't deny what he does on the football field. Yeah. But to get to that immortal status, where
is
Montana,
Tom Brady immortal?
Yes, he's got 7 Super Bowls.
Let me say this.
He's not on that level.
Let me tell you, there's a couple of moments. There's a couple of big things here that's incredibly important to mention. Number one, Mad Dog Russo agrees with me.
That's something different.
I'm right.
And he's
I'm
right. He's right.
Okay, so that's a very, very big moment. Very big moment.
He's right.
We can't ignore that.
Questioning this conversation.
That doesn't happen very often with Mad Dog Russo. Doesn't happen very often, but he disagreed with me. But I will ask you this. Who do you consider to be immortals? I want your list.
In football quarterbacks?
Football quarterbacks.
Well,
give it on.
Yeah, Brady.
Okay, what else? Who else?
Montana.
Okay.
4-0 in the Super Bowl.
All right. Bradshaw's 4-0.
I love him. I wouldn't consider him.
I know that, but he's 4-0, so you can't just go to the 4-0.
Well, but he did it with a great defense. You know, Montana
and Len Swan stalwart Franco Harris. But he did throw those footballs.
But he had a million Hall of Famers on the defense.
Okay, no problem.
I think you got to put Unitas there. He is the founder of the modern. He's the he called all his own plays.
I only saw black and white footage of Unitas. I don't remember that, man.
Montana,
okay.
Unitas.
You know, I'm going to go back even further, which is going to drive him crazy.
Yes.
Otto Graham.
Oh Lord.
10 straight championship games. The old Browns. Ash Schuler loved Graham. I think you got to put him in the situation.
Okay.
You probably, because he won 2, I probably would put Elway in there.
Okay.
What?
He had the 98-yard drive to beat the Browns in the great drive, and he won 2 Super Bowls.
But he got slaughtered in some Super Bowls, too?
Not as good, though. The team wasn't as good.
But he got slaughtered.
He did. He got slaughtered. No question about it. But he won the 2.
I don't know about that. Not immortal. Not immortal.
See, I don't put Manning. Manning's not great in the postseason. And Manning's a little bit like Rodgers. When things got a little off-kilter for Manning, he had trouble adapting as well in a certain game. The thing you love about Brady, look at him the other day. He had 2 turnovers. He got hit in the face. He gets the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He's down 27-3. He's 44 years of age. He's won 7 Super Bowls. He's been to 10 of them.
And still 4.
And what does he do? He's fighting. He's scratching. He's clawing. That's championship.
He's not rattled, and he almost won it.
That's championship football. But did you see Rodgers do that the other day?
Not at all. But here's what I'm saying to you, Mad Dog Russo. Basically, what you're saying is Aaron Rodgers is not Tom Brady. My retort to that would be, no one is Tom Brady.
How about Montana?
Montana's in the discussion, no doubt.
He's as good as it gets.
But you know, you want me to tell you what nobody's ever brought up about Montana? And I love Joe Montana. What nobody's ever brought up is that when he left, they still won with Steve Young.
That's true. Well, Young was the Hall of Famer, too.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But I'm just saying. But again, we can't ignore that.
Very fair.
2 questions. You pick which one you want to answer. Is Aaron Rodgers going to win another Super Bowl? That's one question I have for you. The other one, is he a top 5 all-time?
No, I don't think he is.
Okay.
I would put him somewhere between 5 and 10.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers from overall, but you talk about resume.
Historically.
Resume. You're not talking talent.
No, I'm not talking talent. Talking resume.
Okay. Because talent, I'm talking maybe the greatest all time.
The way he throws the football.
Yeah.
Nobody throws it better than Rodgers does.
Right.
But think about it for a second. At 10-3 on Saturday night in his ballpark with that weather, which he thrives in, he had 2 drives where he got a first down on the first one, the game is over. And at 10-10, if he hits Lazard, who's wide open in the middle of the field, and he throws the bomb to Adams on 3rd and 11, incomplete. If he makes that pass and kicks the field goal and they win, that's the game.
The conversation would be a lot different about
He had
legacy
6
is all
plays
right
to
now.
do something for his team on a bad night and did
I totally
not
agree.
do it.
I totally agree, which is why I'm so heartbroken and disappointed because I expected so much more from him. And there's 2 things that's important that I need to bring up. Number one, let's not let Matt LaFleur off the hook.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, this dude, you know, the coordinator of the 27th ranked offense in Tennessee gets the head coaching job, wins 13 games a year, and every single year, this team messes up in the playoffs.
100%
That's on Matt LaFleur.
100%. 39-10 in the regular season. My kid can coach the Packers with Rodgers and go in that division with the Lions, Bears, and Vikings. Then go 39-10. Do you think Lombardi, who was 9-1 in the postseason, that stadium is for Lombardi?
Yeah. That's right.
Do you think upstairs when he saw the Packers lose the other day in that weather to Garoppolo?
That's right. To Garoppolo.
On a block punt, a blocked field goal, and a 50-yard return, which got the 49ers set up in the 3rd quarter to kick that first field goal. Right. You think Lombardi said, what are we doing?
All right, before we go to break, all right, Rodgers is an all-time great.
Yeah, he is.
You're
not immortal.
You're not high on the coach. He's not an immortal like Tom Brady.
Correct.
But to redeem himself, he needs to win another ring.
Yeah.
What do you want to see him do? Where should he go?
I want him to stay in Green Bay, and I think he will. I think at the end of the day.
But you don't like the coach.
I don't like LaFleur. LaFleur's overrated. You know, I'm not a huge. He hasn't shown me anything yet.
He's not bad.
Look at Shanahan. Shanahan got to a Super Bowl with Garoppolo, and he wins 2 playoff games with Garoppolo again.
Let me say this real quick. I got to get this out. I got to get this out, guys. I got to get this out. If Kyle Shanahan was the coach in Green Bay, they get to a Super Bowl.
100% right.
I believe that, number one.
He's
Number
right.
2, here's my problem, and I'm scared because I never thought I'd say this. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to win another Super Bowl. You know why? Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow in the AFC.
And throwing Herbert.
In the AFC, and Herbert. And I love Justin Herbert. But I'm saying, the Chargers got to wait to go.
I hope he gets an opportunity to make a run, and I hope he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't think he
will. I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay.
I don't think he's staying. You think he's staying?
I think he stays. I think he stays.
All right.
Way to go, Matt! Way to go!
You did a good job.
I love you guys.
It's a pleasure. Christopher Russo hosts his daily radio show, Mad Dog Unleashed. It's every weekday afternoon on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. You can also watch him on his TV show, High Heat. That's weekday afternoons on MLB Network.
Bonds, Clemens, Poppy, Hall of Famer.
I'm going to go see you about 60 minutes. I'll see you later.
Rose, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 100%. How is Rose not in the Hall of Fame? 100%. I love him.
I got to wrap up this love fest right now, guys. Got to get into a commercial. Great to see you. Gone but never forgotten. Don't miss Stephen A's very special tribute to Kobe Bean.